Now I give the floor to the permanent representative for Pakistan, to be followed by Belarus. Excellency, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the outset, I would like to thank the delegations of China, Niger, Russian Federation, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and South Africa for convening this meeting on a very topical and important issue. Unilateral coercive measures not only impinge on political and economic freedom, well-being and sovereignty of states, but also reflect some of the worst abuses of power and its extraterritorial application adversely impacting the lives of millions of people around the world. Pakistan believes that unilateral coercive measures are contrary to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and against the basic norms of international law, multilateralism and international relations. The assumption that one actor or a small group of actors can be allowed to unilaterally employ coercive measures, often on the whim of their governments or leaders, or in attempts to pursue national policy objectives, contravenes the principle of collective security, which is at the heart of the world order established after the Second World War. Fairness, impartiality, and adherence to a rules-based system was in fact one of the most fundamental premises of the post-World War order. The United Nations was created precisely to check such abuses of power. It should be a matter of concern for all that some states and international actors continue to ignore their obligations under the UN Charter and international law when resorting to unilateral sanctions and similar coercive and discriminatory measures to secure their partisan objectives. Their actions intensify the threats to peace and security rather than ease them. The negative impact of unilateral coercive measures has been repeatedly affirmed in numerous resolutions of the General Assembly as well as the Human Rights Council. Both the Assembly and the Security Council have recognized that people should not be deprived of their means of subsistence, especially food and medicines, even where enforcement action may be required by the Security Council. They have also clearly established that the extraterritorial application of power, as in the case of unilateral coercive measures, erode international humanitarian and human rights law and are inadmissible. Such unilateral measures are all the more abhorrent when deployed to secure unjust and unauthorized, discriminatory and narrow national objectives of one or more powerful states. The Special Rapporteur on Unilateral Coercive Measures and Human Rights, Ms. Alina Dohan, has also pointed out that there is no consensus in the international community about nearly anything relating to sanctions, including their notion, characteristics, legal basis, and humanitarian aspect. Mr. Chairman, as we fight a common enemy, the COVID-19 pandemic, which knows no borders and threatens us all alike, it is grotesque that millions of people in some of the victimized countries confront the double jeopardy of unilateral coercive measures arrogantly imposed by those who wield military and financial power in our unequal world. Guided by international law and the UN Charter, and echoing the words of many senior UN officials, including the UN High Commissioner on Human Rights, we urge an immediate end to the unilateral coercive sanctions which have negative impacts on healthcare and human rights and on vulnerable peoples in this period of crisis. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank Ambassador Akram, the permanent representative of Pakistan, for his statement.